Hello, you beautiful people out there. What is going on? This is your friend Birdie coming at you fast with a very detailed analysis of the HUD that MetaBuff has showed in their proof of concept video. I'm going to be going over basically what you guys are seeing here in front of you, the design philosophy summarized by the MetaBuff employee over there. I guess you get a volunteer because he's not really getting paid for this. And I'll be going over my feedback and stuff where I think it could be better and explain my rationale. So basically, what are we looking at here? Well, bottom middle, you have your health, your mana, your abilities, all that stuff. The big change that you'll probably notice is that the mini-map is right there, bottom left, which is kind of weird. MOBAs are usually top right, you know, so it's a little weird, but I'll go over that in a second. Let me just show you guys what's on screen first. Bottom left, you have your character abilities, or not your abilities, stats, because your abilities are in the middle. Your character's level, your character's XP, the stats, how many kills they got, how many deaths they have, how many minions they kill, whatever. And then all those stats that we looked at in the last video, you see true damage in there, armor, health regeneration, all that good stuff. Now, top left, you have your teammates. Top right, you have your enemies. You can see levels, you can see health, you can see mana. Health is green, mana is purple. It's those diagonal bars. And then you can see a yellow diamond, which represents ultimates and how much the ultimates of your teammates are charged up, which is a good thing to know when you're going to a team fight because you want to make sure all your allies have their ultimates ready. Top middle, we can see the timer, and then those 100% bars, if I had to guess, would probably be core health. That would be my guess as to what that percentage is. Now, you could also see some icons underneath the hero faces. Again, a total amount of kills and deaths and minion kills and tower destroys and all that for your team, plus your total team economy and the total enemy economy. So you can kind of keep track of the flow of the game and see how well your team is doing versus how poorly the other team or how well the other team is doing. And you don't have to pull up your scoreboard anymore to see this, which is a good thing. My only concern with this is make sure it's symmetrical. If you guys look right now, at least in this concept, the icons are not symmetrical. You have that upside down triangle, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. You have that upside down triangle 3 away from the middle on the left side, and you have it all the way on the right side on the right half. So just a thing to point out. Now, the reason they did all this, the reason they put the minimap there in the bottom left, for example, is because they wanted to make sure that your heat map, quote unquote, the way your eye travels and the amount of time it takes for your eyeball to move around and see all the important information is minimized as much as possible, which is a good idea to have because MOBAs are competitive games and need to be able to glean information very, very quickly and often as well. And you want to make sure that it's not in an awkward spot and not difficult to do so. And so if you have a map all the way like in the bottom right corner, that doesn't make any sense because you have to take your eyeballs away from the center of your screen and go all the way to the bottom right. Whereas here, your eye can still kind of stay a little centered while looking at this mini map. Now, a few gripes with the mini map. So basically, let me finish this thought. So they wanted to make sure that all the important stuff is in view. You can see your health, you can see your cooldown, you can see the minimap, you can see your items and all that all in one little corner, and that's great. Except the issue with what they did in the video is they're like, oh yeah, all you need to do is look in the bottom left corner and you're fine. But then you guys just went over in detail how important it is to see your teammates' economy versus the enemy's economy, your teammates' ultimate and health. So you'd still have to be looking at the top left, and you'd still have to be looking at the top right. In the middle of a team fight, probably no, right? Probably not, but it would be nice information to have if you would, be able to have a more centralized HUD. So my gripe with this is that, besides it being kind of awkward, my gripe is that, well, the minimap is a little too small, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the minimap. Plus, if I'm looking at the minimap, I'm going to have to be looking at cooldowns, and I'm going to have to be looking at the locations of my teammates, and if the enemy is spotted on wards, I want to know where they are, and I know it'll come with time and getting used to the map, but I feel like it would be a little bit difficult to glean that information easily if the map is too small. So I feel like the map needs to be a little bit bigger. What I did was I opened this screenshot right here that you guys see in front of you. I opened this up on my screen as if I was playing the game. And I was kind of, doing what I did in Paragon, looking at the map 95% of the time, looking in front of me, looking at my health and mana, looking at the timers, the respawn timers of my teammates and my enemies, and trying to see how it felt, just how it felt, like empirically gathering data, just being the little scientist, pre-med student that I am, making observations, running experiments, figuring this shit out. And what I felt would be a better change is if you would take the map and stick it instead of where the timer is. You'd put it in the top middle. You'd make it a little bit bigger, so you'd make a little bit more space for it, right? Whether that means shrinking the horizontal bars of the hero faces of your allies and your enemies, just kind of scrunching them up a little bit, pushing them towards the corners of the screen and kind of putting the map more so front and center in the middle. And then making it a little translucent, right? So it's not completely blocking your vision. Because really, how many times do you need to look like up, right? And I know like the verticality and all that, you're gonna have to look up, but really you would just move your mouse upwards because you'd have to aim at them anyway if you're trying to engage them. Your reticle is in the middle of your screen, not in the top middle of your screen. So having your map block the top middle of your screen isn't as big of a deal because you'll look that way anyway. And making it a little translucent will not restrict access, will not restrict vision to that part of the screen, so you'll be able to see a Kalari flipping in or whatever. So that would get rid of that, the opacity, right? Make the opacity a lower percentage. So you'd be able to do that. Now, what would that accomplish? Well, first off, where would you put the timer? The timer, it's whatever. The timer can be above your health bar. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, the timer, you'll know where to look at the timer. What I'm talking about right now is you're in the middle of a team fight. What is important? How should you be looking at the screen? The map is in the top middle. You are right there, looking at the middle of your screen. Your abilities are down there, bottom middle, and your health and mana bar are bottom middle. Everything you need to know, basically, is centralized, and it's middle. It's as middle as possible, without it looking really ugly or too scrunched up. There are three important things that you need, three important pieces of information that you need to analyze before engaging in combat. You need to know how much health and how much mana you have. You need to know the cooldown of your abilities if they're ready to be used, especially your ultimate ability, right? And you need to know the position of your teammates and the position of enemies if you have wards, and knowing whether their ultimate is up or how much health they have is, that's added bonus, but you can take a look at, if you're in the middle of a team fight, all your allies are right there, and all their health bars are visible, and all the enemy health bars are visible, and all that stuff. So it's not that hard to glean. You don't have to actually look in the top left and right corners for that bit of information. So basically what I'm saying is you're in the middle of a team fight. You need to have all these three bits of information right there accessible to you, while at the same time having access to the screen itself, having access to your reticle, focusing on your reticle, focusing on aiming and landing your shots at Twin Blaster, lining up your pull as Grux. You're not going to be looking at the left corner of your screen while you're getting shot at by Sparrow. Okay, that's completely counterintuitive. So having everything in like this middle column of view is what I like to call it, where you go from top middle to bottom middle, everything you need is right there in front of you. I feel like that would definitely maximize your field of view, because while you're looking at the minimap up top, you're already seeing all those little stats that we mentioned earlier, the total amount of the ember, the amount of kills and deaths on your team versus the enemy team. All that stuff you can look at while you're farming. All that stuff you can look at while you're running from base to lane. All that stuff, so like you don't have to have this kind of information prioritized, which is why I feel like putting the minimap in the top middle would be a really, really good idea. And as for the stats in the bottom left, I feel like that's too much. Again, I'm only really looking at that shit when I'm in base. I can pull up the scoreboard and look at it. Or what they should do is have a completely customizable HUD where you can just move all the stuff around on your own. That would be the best thing, because then people would not complain. They can move their minimap wherever they want. They can change the size of it, the opacity, all that good stuff that I was just talking about. They can do all that stuff on their own. It's not going to be preset for them. But if it's not possible to do so, at least make it an option to switch between a simple HUD, where in my character's little box down there in the bottom left, all I'm seeing is how much Ember I have and my KDA and my XP, and that's all I need. I don't need all those 10 little images that are showing all my little stats. Or do a little like drop down menu where if I hold if I hold control or something, it'll pop up all those little stats if I want to quickly look at them and then drop the menu back down. I don't know. These are like little bits of feedback now, but I've said all this in the Discord channel, so MetaBuff knows my opinions on the matter. I kind of just wanted to get them out for you guys to kind of analyze and discuss, and let me know what you guys think about this HUD, how it could change, because again, this is really preliminary. Obviously, they can change it all around. This isn't set in stone. So feedback is really, really important in this step. I feel like the HUD is probably the weakest area out of all these proof of concepts. In my personal opinion, I feel like they could have spent a little bit more time analyzing the HUD, because there is a lot of feedback from a lot of different places, and making a good HUD is really, really hard, and that's obviously the case. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your guys' feedback is down in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and as always, make sure you have a wonderful day. Peace.